Well, hello. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I'm your host, Leticia Romero. And we have lots to talk about tonight. Um, there's an election right here in my home state in South Carolina, and I can tell you right now that Darlene Graham is ahead with almost 31%. Russell Fry's in second with 24, and Ralph Norman is in third with 23. Mark Sanford, the former governor who resigned in disgrace, gets 14 and a half, and then the rest of them all together get like 7. Only 21% of the votes are counted, but I think that we're going to see Darlene Graham take this. And I have to be honest with you. I don't love coronations, and Russell Fry is my congressman. Love him, gave him money, supported him. But at the end of the day, I mean, either he or Darlene is fine with me. But I think Darlene is like a total outsider. And I would hate for Russell to have given up his seat in Congress to go to the Senate. I know that's his choice, but as his constituent, I would have liked to have him a little while longer. He had just gotten to Congress. And I really, I appreciate the work he does in Congress. Ralph Norman is a congressman from further north. His seat is rock solid. See, Russell's includes Myrtle Beach, and Myrtle Beach is solid blue. All the mayor and everybody, they're blue. So I was really concerned about who would run to take Russell's place if he should win. But that was his choice, and I supported him. But I think that having either Darlene or Russell against I think she's a nurse or a doctor that's running on the Democrat line. I think that Darlene is probably a better fit. I like women against women, Republican women against a Democrat woman. I think that pans out really well in the elections and the generals. And I know everybody would say, South Carolina will never go blue. Well, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Listen, Lindsey Graham wasn't beloved everywhere. I could tell you where I live, he certainly wasn't. And I wasn't a big fan, honestly. But I do want Norman and Russell to stay in their seats. And I would rather see Darlene finish her brother's term. And then, we could talk about what's going to happen. I mean, because this is only for the remainder of the term. I think there's only for the race. She would have to run again in November because there's a general election in November. So, just we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted as we go along. Hello, Kevin Wall from the other side of the world, but the same side of the issues. Good to have you with us. Hi, Francine. Hi, Karen. Good to have you watching. Thank you. Welcome in. Hi, Lucille Chavon, our OG. Thank you for watching. And Angela Ricca. How are you all? So tonight we're talking about, Poli-clicks. Okay. Because it seems like we've gotten away from governing and gotten into social media in such a way that they are elected, or those running for office or in office are doing everything for clicks. Hi, Andrew Dorman. As long as they get clicks, they're happy. And, listen, the king of social media, the one who used it to his advantage. People say Obama did, which he did. He was the first one to actually kind of use it, but Trump came in roaring, and he use social media in a fantastic way, not just the first election, the second election. As a matter of fact, in the second election, Trump voters and swing voters largely got their news from social media. So, the swing voters defined as those who did not rule out voting for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris from the start of the campaign, and I'm reading now, largely got their news from social media leading up to the election. 45% of swing voters and 52% of new Trump voters cited getting their news through social media, a far greater share than the national electorate, 37%. Television news was much less popular, thank the Lord, with swing voters and Trump voters, with only 38% of swing voters and 31% of base Trump voters citing using broadcast television as the news source. Fully half of base Harris voters got their news from broadcast television. Are you surprised? No, 50%. However, Trump voters were most likely to regularly watch a cable news channel, with 52% regularly watching Fox News. Base Harris voters were most likely to watch CNN. Okay, so nothing stunning there, except for the fact that Trump, is the social media king, and that's how come he wanted TikTok to remain and fought so hard to keep it online. But as much as Trump was successful in using social media and clicks to get elected, there's a new group of people who have come in and are using it very, very effectively. One of them is AOC. We have watched AOC, and we know, right? We've talked about it on this show, that Justice Democrats actually held auditions, and AOC answered the casting call and became their candidate for Congress. And Justice Democrats is the same as Socialist Democrats, just with a different name. And they use social media to get her in. Absolutely 100% use social media. And to this day, she continues to use social media to her advantage. I'm going to show you. Watch what she's doing now. This is very interesting. Now she's taking us on all of her journeys. Journey with her fiance, journey with her parents, her cousins, her nephews, her nieces, her crazy thought process, her inability to answer questions in Germany. She's taking us all around. Now she's taking us on a fertility journey. Watch.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is freezing her eggs as she considers her political future. The New York representative said the reproductive choice made her feel more in control of her life. She shared her fertility journey on Instagram, answering questions about the egg freezing process, and she even showed when she gave herself a hormone injection before a live TV interview. She hopes to normalize conversations about fertility and family planning for women. Ocasio-Cortez says she has not ruled out running for president or the U.S. Senate in 2028.
Okay, so it's interesting, right? Because she made such a stink about abortion, right? And the Democrats made such a stink about abortion and the women's choice, and they called it women's health in the last election. And now she's taking people on a fertility journey to normalize infertility. Well, we know that infertility is a problem, and it very well may be that infertility is a problem because of all the vaccines that our children are getting. We're hearing more and more young people having a hard time getting pregnant, and nobody can explain it, put it that way. But at the same time that AOC was taking us on her fertility journey, Governor Healey was signing a bill that allows for babies to be aborted up until birth. Remember we all heard that late-term abortions rarely occur. Um, it doesn't happen. We're crazy. All of a sudden, now we're making way for those procedures to be able to happen all the way to birth. And here she is. Watch.
Governor Healy signs a law removing exceptions to late-term abortions, leaving the decision to the doctor.
We're going to make sure that women in particular are able to make their own health care decisions, not the government.
Before this, state law allowed abortions after 24 weeks, but only with certain exceptions.
We were determined to give our son peace.
Alex Lawton and Kate Deneen traveled to Maryland for a late-term abortion. At 33 weeks along, they learned their son's diagnosis did not qualify for an exception.
We learned that our son, Teddy, had suffered a catastrophic stroke in utero. He would either die or survive for some period of time with a spectrum of devastating outcomes.
9 other states and Washington, D.C. also do not have a gestational ban on abortion. Governor Healy blasted President Trump and her Republican opponents on the issue.
Abortion's on the ballot in this election. It couldn't be more clear.
Mike Minogue, who describes himself as pro-life, says, "I'm disappointed the governor is playing extreme politics with women's health. I would much rather see the people of Massachusetts voice their opinion and decide this, not the politicians." He wouldn't say if that meant a ballot question. Brian Shortsleeve's campaign says he would have signed the law, adding Brian Shortsleeve has been clear throughout this campaign that he is pro-choice and believes these deeply personal decisions should be made between a woman and her doctor. Deneen says removing exceptions will help women.
Today, we are righting this wrong once and for all.
The National Right to Life telling us when lawmakers remove every objective limitation and authorize an abortion provider to decide whether an abortion may be performed at any point in pregnancy, abortion until birth is precisely what the law allows.
This subject gets me crazy. And I'll tell you why it gets me crazy. Because these people want to be able to kill a child that could live, is viable outside of the womb, because science is saying that the child has a horrible disease or is it going to have a horrible problem, yada, 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 yada. I don't know. At the same time, they're calling these babies a clump of cells or just fetuses, not they're dehumanizing them when it is convenient for them. But on the other hand, infertility, a woman who's spending $100,000 and shooting herself in the stomach every day to increase her hormones so that she increases her eggs, so that if she wants to be pregnant, someday she can be pregnant. Those eggs, those fetuses that they put together, are they just a clump of cells too? They're willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to ensure a pregnancy later on. But so when it's convenient, it's a clump of cells that they're just getting rid of in their body. When they want a child, it's a child from the egg, from the time that it's fertilized. Drives me insane. Now listen, women have to make their own decisions, but I think that anyone would agree that you wouldn't abort and kill a puppy that could live viably outside of a dog's womb, would you? It just drives me crazy. The hypocrisy drives me crazy. So at the same time as, clicks for fertilization is occurring, we have a Massachusetts governor signing a bill that would basically that will allow a doctor to kill a baby that is totally viable right up until birth outside of the womb. What do you think about it? I want to hear from everybody, because I know that's a sensitive subject, but I think it's an important one. It's an important one because it's a farce. It's hypocrisy, and it drives me insane. Okay, and where else, right? So they want choice for late term abortions, but they don't want choice for once you become a parent, what you do with that child, right? They don't want you to be able to choose whether or not that child should have this vaccine or that vaccine. They want the government to mandate what vaccine that child has. So yet again, right? So we go from no, hands off my body, my uterus, my kid. It's not anything to do with you, right up until birth. And then once they're born, whatever the science says, I want the government to tell me what to do with my child. Well, Trump said enough of that. And watch.
America's recommended more childhood vaccines than any peer nation, and even twice as many doses as some European countries, and even more than that. In many cases, we were requiring 72 jabs for our beautiful, healthy, lovely, delicate little children, including giving the hepatitis B shot to infants and newborns on top of many other vaccinations. Effective immediately, my administration is recognizing gold standard childhood vaccine recommendations for only 11 core vaccinations against the most serious and dangerous diseases, along with the MMR, which hopefully will be split up. So at year one, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations for hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children. In addition, this executive order directs the Attorney General to advance legal challenges against states that violate children's rights to religious or medical vaccination exemptions. Other countries have very high vaccination rates, and they have not had, and they don't have, without mandates for school. Parents can still choose to give their children all of the vaccinations if they wish. It's up to the parents. We're making recommendations that are strong, but it's up to the parents if they wish, and they will be covered by insurance. However, this updated recommendation finally aligns the United States with other advanced and developed nations around the world. More importantly, it aligns us with common sense and knowledge.
Okay, so Trump signed that executive order, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. And the news media has lost its mind. How dare he? He's going to expose children to harm. Who is he? He's not a doctor. Even some Republican senators had something to say about it. But the interesting thing is that all these news media that are losing their mind, same news media that would like America to be just like Europe, right? Whenever they want to say something is a gold standard, they point to Europe. So now Trump put us in line with Europe by reducing 72 shots to 11. But if the parents want to put 72 shots into their child's bloodstream, they certainly could. My question to you is, what percentage of parents do you think are going to opt for putting 72 shots into their child's body? 10%? 20%? What do you think? I'm going to put my neck on the line and say that about 85% of parents will opt not to give their child those extra vaccines. You know why? Because while everybody is screaming, the scientific community is screaming that vaccines do not cause autism. Parents are seeing that more and more children have autism, and the only thing that is changing with the years are these vaccines, right? Mothers are healthier than they ever were. I mean, we used to smoke when we were pregnant. Who knew? Smoke, drink. There was no warnings against it. Eat whatever you want, get as fat as you want. Now mothers are, whole milk and this and that and breastfeeding and all that stuff. And more and more children are getting autism. So what is it? Air pollution, water pollution? What is it? Could it be that we went from 11 core vaccines to 72 in this country? Because only in America are the autism numbers as high as they are. I can't say that anything's provable, but just because things aren't provable, you've got to use your head a little bit, logic. And we saw what Fauci did, right, with the COVID vaccine, saying that it was totally safe for pregnant women publicly, but privately, they realized that the second booster, there was an increase in miscarriages, but he didn't tell people that, did he? Not everything is a jab. I remember taking a pink sweet syrup when very young for polio, maybe, or something else. Yeah, you're right. A pink sweet syrup. And there was one that they used to give it, I think, on the sugar cube. I got the syrup too, but my husband got it on the sugar cube. Yeah, we had all kinds of medications, or quote unquote vaccines. It wasn't always being stuck in you, but yeah. But now, like hepatitis, babies are getting hepatitis vaccine orally at birth, and shit in their eyes at birth, all because of some hookers who gave birth to some babies who had hepatitis. Why in the world are we assuming every baby is coming out of a hooker? Yeah, it's kind of crazy shit. But here's the thing, right? So the news media is losing their minds. The scientific community is losing their minds because he's aligning us with Europe. Don't understand that. And the socialists now, who are saying that Trump backs, billionaires. Well, this is directly a conflict to big pharma, right? Those are the people with all the money. So Trump is going against big pharma because who's making all the money with these vaccines? Big pharma. And Trump's been breathing down big pharma's neck since his first term. But of course, we don't hear about that, right? We don't hear about it. Okay, well, talking about the socialists and talking about Trump them accusing Trump of protecting the billionaires and blah blah blah. I want to show you the poster child for socialism, Hassan Piker. I want to show you his net worth, but I'll read Andrew's comment first. Abortion is a very serious issue. Overdependence on abortion is wrong, but abortion should not use as an alternative always. Unwanted pregnancies by force should never happen and allow a woman to abort. Tragic conceived pregnancies should never transpire but can, sadly. Government subsidies for abortion must be monitored and to find what the problem is. All women should remember their bodies, not a productive waste disposal. That's an excellent comment. I agree with that. I don't think that the government should be funding abortions. Why would they? It's not a public health risk, right? It's not like if the government wants to fund anything, let them fund vaccinations, but they don't, right? Our private insurance has to do that. That would make more sense to me because you want to keep sickness down. But in a society where our population is going down, why would the government fund abortions? Makes no sense to me. All right, Hassan Piker. You've seen him. He's the one who said America deserved 9/11, and down with capitalism. Just watch.
He talks politics for a living and somehow turned it into millions. 2018, $0. Hassan starts streaming political commentary. Small audience, long hours, almost no income. 2019, $200,000 Twitch viewership grows fast. Donations and subs begin stacking. 2020, $1 million election season explodes his channel. Clips go viral across the internet. 2021, $3 million. One of the most watched streamers on Twitch. Controversy fuels attention. 2022, $4.5 million. Sponsorships, YouTube revenue, and subs keep compounding. 2023, $6 million. Audience loyalty turns into predictable monthly income. Streaming becomes a machine. 2024, $7.5 million. Political relevance keeps him constantly trending. Views convert to dollars. 2025, $9 million. Owning his platform presence matters more than brand deals. 2026, $12 million. Not from selling products, but from attention, consistency, and staying relevant. He didn't sell opinions, he monetized attention.
Okay. So the guy that's talking about capitalism being bad and that rich people are, we need to get rid of the rich or tax the rich more. There you go. $12 million, 36 years old. From playing on a platform, Twitch. I got to be honest. I have no idea how to make money off these platforms. Not that I would look to anyway. I do this so that we have an opportunity to talk and that conservative voices are on the air. But he made himself relevant and he was able to get people's attention. And I'm not doing such a good job at that, unfortunately. But yeah, $12 million, 36 years old. So he's standing up for the regular guy? I don't think so. Here's another one who wants you to believe she's a regular guy. This is Francesca Hung running for governor, and she's running tonight's her election. Watch.
So stressful to get by these days, and I know a lot about stress. I work in restaurants. I started in this kitchen 15 years ago, and you might recognize what's across the street. A lot of people in that building don't get why it's so hard to get by right now. Working hard doesn't mean you can always keep up. One wrong step can lay you out flat. This is by design. I'm State Representative Francesca Hong. I'm a service worker, community organizer, and a mom. I work for a living. Always have, still do. 5 years ago, my community sent me to the Capitol. The system is rigged. I'm running for governor to fix it. For years, we've been told that doing better isn't possible. Well, let me tell you, that's bullshit. All we need to do is fight together. We can fully fund our public schools and have universal childcare. We can guarantee paid leave and have cheaper healthcare. We can fix a rigged system that puts oligarchs over workers and small businesses. We can do better.
Okay, so she was a chef, but from a chef, she went to the State House. So she's pretending she's just a chef still. She's still hiding the fact that she is a legislator, and she's been a legislator for 5 years. So any of the problems in Wisconsin, she's been part of. But she's trying to hide that. So, and social media is helping her hide it. Now, I want you to see too about why I called this Poli-clicks. And Angela hit the nail on the head. Send her a turkey. She says controversial shit to get attention, like they all do, and then they backtrack. Watch.
Quoting here, cancel Thanksgiving. Should have done this in 1621. If it takes a worldwide pandemic for us to realize we should stop celebrating colonialism and the original super spreader event that killed indigenous folks and women, so be it. And now she says the following, watch.
Bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Because I
there you have it.
Yep. I don't want to cancel it. I actually love it.
Okay. And it's perfectly acceptable. Perfectly acceptable. Because she knows that will get shown all over the place. So we're not governing anymore by what's best for our constituency. We're not even acting like human beings anymore. We're entering into a realm now where hypocrisy is at its height. You know, what you said yesterday doesn't matter. It's what you're saying today. Yeah, Kevin says two-faced. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because that was so yesterday. That tweet is so old. But you said it. We're not holding people accountable for their positions because their positions are not etched in stone. They're trying to gaslight us and tell us that what they said before doesn't matter because they've evolved, they've changed. I call bullshit on that. They're hiding, they're disguising, they're phoning up, all for the benefit of clicks. They're being outrageous. You saw, oh, that's bullshit. You know, and you know the sound of the record, you know, scratching. They do things to shock, so that it gets shared and shared again and talked about and picked up by the news and clicked, and it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. Which is probably why Hassan Piker said what he said about America and 9/11. Now he's backtracking. He's saying that, you know, he doesn't think capitalism works, but he'd rather be a rich capitalist fighting for the poor than a broke Trump supporter fighting to protect the rich. What the fuck does that mean? Listen, we're entering a new era of government because it's not, you know, you can't say politics as usual anymore because it's not. There are a lot of Democrats who are backing away from the socialists, like AOC and Bernie, have not endorsed Hong. And Hong is, you know, she's a state representative. So that really concerns me that they're not endorsing a state rep. So why? Because they know she's owned by our friend Singham and his cabal. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, you know, it's up to us. We've got to get out there. We've got to call bullshit on all this. You know, these people who are disenfranchised, these people who are talking about affordability, these young people running, they are overeducated and they have tens of thousands of dollars coming out of college with student loans and no prospects for a career. A lot of them. And these are the disgruntled group of people who are voting socialists. So you earn a bachelor's degree, a doctorate. You go to school for 6 years, 8 years, whatever, however many years, and you're coming out with at least 50,000, that's the average, $50,000 in student loans, and you studied basket weaving, who are you blaming for not having a job? Who told you that basket weaving or women's gender studies was a legitimate path to a legitimate job? Who told you that? Well, the colleges? Oh, who runs the colleges? The Democrats, the liberals? The Republicans didn't tell you to go into debt to go to college and study women's gender studies. The Democrats did. But somehow you come out of college pissed off at the people that didn't go to college, that are making more money than you as plumbers, as electricians, even as road construction specialists. You're pissed about that. Well, the people who gave you that loan were Democrats. It was the Democrat-controlled government that opened up the floodgates for, more money to be borrowed so that you could go to college. And, there was no need to get a good grade. And there was, furthermore, no need to come out of college with a degree that would actually get you a career that would benefit you and humanity. Those were Democrats that did that, not Republicans. So don't be pissed off because you can't earn a living, because you have to realize that in South Carolina, we have young people here struggling that barely finished high school. Those are the working people, not you and your friends who have 1, 2, 3 degrees, who spent until they're 26 years old in college partying and getting brainwashed. So it was the Democrats that sold us the bill of goods that everybody had to go to college. The Democrats that sold us the bill of goods that you need to borrow money to go to college because when you come out, you'll have a better job. And now it's the Democrats who are telling us that somehow or another, the Republicans took away their job opportunities. The only jobs that they were looking for were government jobs or jobs in education. God forbid they get their hands dirty and pick some fruit or lay some asphalt. Oh, no, not that. Not my kid. You see how crazy this is? I mean, see how insane it is? Because it's not real. It's just not real. It's all for clicks. Every bit of it is for clicks. And tomorrow there'll be a new message. Do you notice that? Does everybody notice that since USAID has been defunded, we hardly have any protests anymore? Remember, there were protests in the street almost every day during the election season. And then even Trump's first year. But now suddenly USAID defunded, no protests because nobody around to print their signs. Hi, Michael Patrides. Yes, we're looking forward to seeing you here. These things aren't coincidence. They're just not. They're you got to just follow what's going on. Trump is doing what he promised to do. And I don't know about you, but by me, gas is $3.02. Today, it was announced that we have the control of the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if that's going to send prices further down or not. Trump saying that he thinks that gas will be $2 or around $2 by the time of the midterms. I believe him. So anyway, Darlene Graham is going to the runoff. Apparently, it looks like It's going to be Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. 66% of the votes have been counted. Neither one of them got 50%. So now we have a runoff. 15,000 votes separate them. I think that Darlene will pull ahead a little bit more. But Russell, it looks like it's Graham, Norman, Fry, and then Sanford and Lynch. So we get to vote yet again. We've been voting a lot here. We voted for governor twice. We had a runoff, and now we're voting. And then we had a primary, and now we have this runoff. So, all right. Well, I'll see you all tomorrow night. Oh, I'm way late. Thank you all for joining me. Just think about what I said. And also think about, posting some of this stuff. I don't have to be the only one on air, right? Think about if you've gotten any information from here, or if you can dig up some more, post it on your social media. Don't be afraid. Let people see the fraud that these people are. That, especially that Hassan Piker bet. I mean, that was from Truth Tracker. Find it, retweet it, repost it, whatever. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Love you all. I'll see what's next on the agenda.